knowing that and knowing how top tier's recent performances are, I just think they're going to struggle.
All right. Well, I think that closes that one, and I'm being told that we have both representatives of Dare and Top Tier on the line. Gentlemen, welcome to the broadcast. We have Aggressor, and we have Rude Awakening. Welcome back,
Yes, sir.
Rude. Missed
We've been talking about you, so let's move to you first. Where have you been? What have you been up to? How are things?
Just working. I started a new job, and I was really focusing on a lot of just catching up, and I had a lot of responsibilities in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So it's been tough. I haven't been home a lot.
That's too bad. What can you tell us about your involvement with the team while you were doing the new work stuff? Were you able to practice much? It
was really tough. The team had to kind of get things going and try out with different callers, and they were trying a lot of different things, and they've progressed. They've learned a lot. They didn't perform as well as they're capable of, absolutely, but hopefully things will turn around.
All right, and with you back today, we're sure it will. Aggressor, let's move over to you for a minute.
Yep.
Dare.
All right.
We've, as you might have already heard, I'm a little skeptical going against top tier. Last time it was a 5-3.
Okay.
I don't know. Can you guys do a 5-3, or are you gonna fall to them this time? Do you think they might have any edge over you?
I'm not going to predict the score or anything, but I hope we do really well. We've been practicing a lot against for what they usually do, so hopefully we can get some pretty good games.
Okay.
All right. So, we talked earlier in the season. You took over as caller for the rest of the team. You guys are obviously in second place, so as far as scores go, it's working out for you guys. How are you guys feeling as a team with that adjustment? You feel everyone's adapted okay? Is there any awkwardness? How are you guys at as far as that goes?
Well, everyone's fine. I mean, we've been playing some of us have been playing 3 seasons together, so, the couple additions and a couple changes aren't really that big of a deal for us.
All right. And I've got a final question that I'm going to bring to both of you guys. We'll start with Rude one more time. Rude, I want to ask you about the meta and the way it's changed since the beginning of the season. Do you have any comments on some of the most popular tanks or strategies or biggest changes you felt like have happened through the season?
Well, unfortunately, one of the more important things to do in this game is kind of know the meta, and because of my recent schedule and being busy and stuff, keeping up with that meta was really difficult. Because in order to keep up with the meta, you have to watch a lot of film and kind of see everything that's going on. So what I can say is I've at least had some reports on the new meta from my teammates who have been able to take care of some of those responsibilities, and I think it's getting heavier and a little bit maybe more campier.
All right. Aggressor, your thoughts on the same subject?
What's the meta? I mean, the meta changes every day.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm asking about, because it's always shifting, and really you guys are the ones who invent it, right?
I think once a meta is established, you get a good 1 week off of it, and then the next week you have to make a new meta because people already understand how to counter the old meta, and that's kind of the whole loop. And sometimes you go back to the old meta and it's everywhere.
So I'm guessing, are you feeling that heavy kind of tank thing? Are things slowing down in your opinion as well, or?
The original coming into the season, it was Wheezies and bad chats, and now it's kind of what's the counter to a Wheezy and a bad chat? Well, mice and other Wheezies, now you can, and TDs and stuff. So that's kind of what I'm looking at now.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, guys. Now we got all that out of the way. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Aggressor, Day Rising, you have any final thoughts for Rude Awakening and Top Tier?
Good to see you back, Rude. Hope you guys play really well. Good luck.
All right, Rude.
Thanks.
Top Tier, any final thoughts for Aggressor and Day Rising?
Yeah, it's definitely. I hope it's going to be a really good fight. And we'll do our best against a great team.
Right. We will fight like men.
All right, guys.
See you on the battlefield.
Thank you for joining us.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
All right. Sorry, I had to slip in the meta question. It felt right because these guys are
especially
watching
Rude. He's just one of those people you can just sit down with and have a drink and just talk about tanks and the meta and how things have changed and what counters what and why they do certain things. It's just really fascinating to hear his point of view of everything.
Yeah, and of course everyone's got a slightly different view. And I think Aggressor put a good point out there. Every week it feels like it changes.
Yeah. Well, you kind of have to, because what happens is after you do it for 1 to 2 match days, then their teams have, as Rude said, gone back and watched the film. They've seen what they've done, and so now it's going to be in the back of their head. All right, well, if they're doing this, what are we going to do for it? They have something prepped for it. So you, as Team 1 have to then go, all right, well, we need to change it up because we don't want them to read it easily, so what do we do?
Yeah.
And then after you do that a couple times, then you can start going back and forth to different metas and kind of throwing them off. But then you say, all right, we're going to bring one lineup that says this is meta 1, for example, like a really passive meta, but we're not going to be slow with it. We're not going to be campy. We're going to be aggressive, and that can kind of throw the other team off by doing something that they don't expect. They see the lineup, they expect one thing, but then you give them something completely else, and that is the kind of level these teams are playing at week after week after week.
And you may not even alter the strategy all that much. For example, Prohorovka.
Well, mind games, once again. They, all right, well, yeah, sure, they brought this lineup, but they're surely not going to do what they did last week. They're going to change it up, and then you're sitting there and you burn time, like, well, they're doing that, or they not? And it's just that constant cat and mouse game that just constantly evolves, and that's part of the thing that makes tanks great.
Yeah. It's, for example, let's move that exact subject to Prohorovka. Very easily, we'll see 5As, we'll see IS-7 stacking up in the middle. There have been points where you've seen literally one IS-7 or one 5A holding the middle of Prohorovka. And two of them just kind of squaring off while a bunch of bat chats and other tanks are moving around on the flanks. Whereas like right now, or at least last week and the few weeks before, we've seen more and more 5As and IS-7 stack up in just the middle of the map, where only one or two bat chats might be playing around on the flanks.
Yeah, because then you have that whole imbalance thing, trying to find the overmatches. And that in that exact example anyways, because, you know, if there's more tanks on the one line, and there's fewer heavies in the middle, if their team has more heavies there, they can go, all right, well, we'll just push over and just take the overmatch in the middle. And so it's that constant cat and mouse game that teams have to pay attention to, and that you have to be really cautious with it, because it can, if you get too far ahead of yourself, you can very easily just burn yourself by overthinking something.
Yeah, and actually that's a problem I've struggled with myself. It's very difficult not to get into your own head and assume that your opponents are doing everything possible at once. You have to understand that the guy on the other side of the keyboard is similar to you. He doesn't have all the information. He's trying to get his team on point.
And that's something that I feel like we don't talk about enough, is gathering information and use of it, or lack of information, and how they work around that.
Well, how about this, James? Let's do that for battle number 1. Talk a lot about information gathering as we look at 2 IS-7s, 5A, 103B, and 3 bat chats played for Dare. Top tier is going to bring 2 IS-7s, 2 5As, a 103B, a single bat chat, and a single T100 light tank on defense. So let's talk about information gathering. 3 bat chats for Dare to do a lot of scouting, and then a T100 and a single bat chat to do all of the vision and scouting control for top tier.
To me, that says top tier. It says one-line play with tanks in the middle. Use the STRV in behind, keep him unspotted, let him just keep his gun in the fight. And use Muriel and the sneaky little T100 to get out in front and get the lights that they need early. And the bat chat also has the burst. So you have the burst and you have the stirve, which is the constant fire. And now, Dare, on the other hand, they're going for an 8-line play.
Yeah, and he's aiming actually to counter out. A little blind fire goes up and over the position of where Muriel is. Muriel does move out for his little scout run, but you can see that the T100, this is why it's such a great tank. It's so flat that even if shots were coming out at his direction, chances are would go over under. He gets
Muriel
spotted.
Spots Dark Ninja.
Nice
puts
cover
a shot
fire.
into him.
There is an S-tank down the way covering him. And with that, Dark's going to have to back off. Muriel's got the escape route. He's in just enough cover that everyone down the line's got this under control, and he can back off. So with that, a lot of information was gathered. We know that a number of tanks are to the southeast, and there aren't many tanks in the middle of the map right now. They couldn't have hidden from the positions that Muriel spotted. And with that, top tier's gotten a little aggressive. And you've seen how an IS-7 Rude Awakening might have gotten a little over-eager, thinking that he could stay safe. Now, look at Dare's adjustment. Based on where they got spotted and what aggression kind of came at them, they shifted a few tanks up to the middle of the map and decided to posture up. They needed that control. At the same time, there's 2 bats on the east side of the map, which tells us that Dare's going to go for the 2-cap and a little bit of an east side play, while also, this is going to stack up very much like a defensive play normally would. Where you've got tanks in the middle, you've got tanks on the east side, but you're going to place
We're talking about information, and look at this. 2 bat chats for Dare up in the north. If they're spotted up there, that's going to signal an easy overmatch for top tier in the south, because the bat chats are going to be 20 seconds out of the fight if they push up and over. If they don't have that information, they don't know it, and those bat chats get in position to start unloading, these heavy tanks for top tier could be in a lot of trouble.
Yep, also look at this. Muriel trying to sneak in through the backfield right now. Spots Durgel, spots Dark Ninja even. And with that, Hako is down. That is not a good thing for top tier. They really looked like they had a stronger play. Nice shot. Muriel takes down Dark Ninja on the move. And right now, position-wise, top tier's got a bit of an advantage, but Dare's sitting on way more hit points. And because of that,
and they should get out both the heavy tanks for Dare Rising. One more shot. It's going to fizz off the tracks, and it's going to be Rude that actually is going to pick up the kill. So now tank advantage is still in favor of top tier. HP is in favor of Dare, though. Only 4 tanks alive.
Oh, there we go. Fixer is down as well. So now 2 tanks down for top tier. And there we go. There's the damage that evens up the hit points you were talking about a moment ago. Durzel doesn't quite have the position, whereas S-Tank can be super effective. Although these bat chats moving down and around, I'm going to need to watch for. Harmless is at full health, just loaded, has 1, 2, 3 with him. And this little hit squad could actually bring the game back into Dare's control. But look at that. Harmless is going to have to back off.
And Delth and that STRV, he's another person to keep an eye on because he's going to have clean shots if these tanks try to drop up and over into the middle.
Yep. And we're going to see this stall out actually for a second. Harmless looked like he didn't quite want to go up and over, knowing that wasn't exactly a smart play. But with a full health bat chat, Harmless and 1, 2, 3 can combo up and possibly take down a crucial tank. I think that 103B would be an ideal target if they can find it. If. Big if.
Yeah, both teams reacting at the same time. The batch chats that we talked about on the 7-8 line 9, they're the ones responsible for the heavy tanks mostly going down for top tier. But at the same time, the heavy tanks in the south for Dare Rising also got isolated, and the batch chats from top tier pushed across in the south. So they in turn just canceled each other out and basically even the fight out. It was top tier that had the slight advantage, but at this point, with only 300 HP and equal on guns, I think it's a pretty even fight.
Yep. Although grouping up right now, top tier moving back to the north, Harmless is in a dangerous spot. Take a look though at where...
And top tier ready for it. They're doing the struggle bus. They're pushing Delth down there first.
Highway to the danger zone.
He has full HP. They spot him. Now Delth's going to set up. Harmless fires a shot. Well, not Harmless, but Muriel fires a shot at Harmless. Now the Sturge's going to get set up, and this bat chat needs to be careful because those buildings are only going to give him so many shots.
Yep. At the same time, why this is also dangerous is Durzel is given a great position to fire. He's actually trying to cover everyone to see where he can get shots onto Lop and everyone else on the side of top tier, so they have to stay in cover or they risk being completely destroyed by the cover fire that Dare still has. Here comes Muriel, moving in, seeing if he can maybe take down a... Is he going to try and take down a building? That could work out.
Now just remember, he is in that T100, so he's extremely low-profile tank. So if he works his ridge right, 1, it's going to be hard for him to get spotted, but 2, there's going to be very small, slim shots on him. And he's going to start firing off some shots, harassing Aggressor from the south, unspotted, even though Harmless is less than a couple hundred meters away from him.
330 about. Yeah, and that's why the T100 is such an amazing tank. It's got good camo.
Well, no, Harmless and Muriel, they're less than 100 meters from each other.
There's
now they get into the prox range, and Harmless is pushing in. So now the cover fire needs to be good for top tier. So he's just going to go over. The STRV is going to get some shots. Muriel's going to take one more.
There he gets a kill. Delth puts a second one into him. He needs 2 more, and that should do it. We need 1 shell to come in from JoJo, but 1, 2, 3 is on the way, and so is Aggressor. Nice play by Dare. This could be enough to finish. Just depends on how well Delth can hold on. Delth shouldn't be able to hold on. Puts 1 into 1, 2, 3. He needs 1 more to finish him.
He has to get these bat chats out of the fight, or at least Harmless, but Harmless is reloading. He's going to get him behind. Now, he doesn't know this.
Nice. Delth is able to get the shot, and needs 1 more into an IS-7.
Aggressor bounces 1, puts another shot in. 1, 2, 3 is about 20 seconds from his reload.
But inching up like this is dangerous. Batchat could come in. Batchat.
He doesn't know that. He has to bank that he's reloading. And there it goes. Aggressor is going to pick it up and seal the deal for Dare. That is going to be a 1-0 victory. Back and forth game, really close. However,
I think top tier made a few little
they were both
errors.
A little bit slow to react to each other, I think.
Okay, I can agree with that.
It was just at the end of the day, it was Dare that made fewer mistakes. I think is the way to look at that one, because both teams had some. I don't necessarily want to call them mistakes, but they didn't have the proper intel on either side. They kind of assumed some things, and the whole push in the north and the south for both teams. They pushed at the same time with bat chats, and they both isolated the other team's heavy tanks.
If Dare had been faster with their reactions, they would have performed, I think, a lot better in that one. Top tier, I think that some of their decisions might have been more off than necessarily their individual player timing. That's kind of what I felt like with that. Because with the bat chats completely out of the way, and how this fight ended up going in the south, there was an overmatch for top tier. Clear advantage. And it did not go in... things did not play out in such a way that I felt like top tier was making the best decision for themselves at the time. But that's also based on we have a little bit more info, so I think we can give him a little slack. Looking at the after battle reports,
5,400 damage on the losing team.
130 fantasy points for that one.
Not bad at all. And then 1, 2, 3, 3K, 2 kills, 83 fantasy points. Dirgil, Aggressor, Harmless, all doing what they can. On the second page, Rude coming in there, 1,700. Muriel another 1,400 in that T100, 73 fantasy points, mostly for getting the lights and all the scouting he did. And then Fixer Reloaded and Hako both getting focused out pretty early on, only getting 1 shot of damage off a piece. Not too surprising.
Yeah, not too surprising. Now we're going to flip sides. And I'm expecting something along the same lines, aren't you? Just that general mid-stack with a little scouting around the flanks and just playing it flexible. It seems to be top tier's kind of bread and butter.
Yeah, the way you have to kind of think about these games to a certain extent is you have to think you have each team has 2 groups.
Yep.
And it is, of the 7 tanks, how many do you put in each group? Mm-hmm. And it's how many do you think the other team's going to put in, and which of those 2 groups are you going to have more tanks at, and how can you make that work for you without sacrificing the other group?
Yeah.
So we'll keep an eye on.
How can you have the other group hold while the other one wins?
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. Dare Rising coming in here, 2 5As, 2 103Bs, and 3 Bad Chats. Top tier on the other hand, 2 I7s, 2 5As, a 103, dropping the T100 and just opting for double Bat Chat this game.
Double Bat Chat's fine as far as the scout choice. Bat Chats can perform the scouting roles sufficiently well. They've got solid view range, decent camo, actually good bit camo value. As far as firing when they're not spotted, that's a bit more dangerous than with a light tank. They have to position themselves and sit much more still, but ultimately I think most teams end up kind of going back to the Bat Chat more often than not.
And a bit of a risky split to start the game for top tier, sending 2 Bat Chats towards the hill. But the heavy tanks are chilling out down in the red line in the south, going all the way over towards the 1 line.
And there's a TD set up on defense for Dare. Okay. They're going to be having just 2 of them looking on the mid line.
Now Rude is actually just chilling out in the low ground here.
Yeah, he's just moving forward. He's trying to scout things out. Notice his IS-7 has optics on it so that he can get just enough spotting if he needs to.
Now, this is kind of what we were talking about. Now, look at this right now. Look at how these teams are split up. Over on the hill, you have 4 tanks with the IS-7 pretty close to them, then the 2 tanks down in the south. The other team is set up very similarly, except they have 2 tanks in the mid and 3 in the north to kind of stop that 7-8-9 line. But for our purposes, we'll just assume that the WZs in the middle and the STRVs are all in one group. That's going to leave the Bat Chats because that 2-line kind of divides the map. If you look at it, right now, let's say the fight happens over on the 7-8-9 line, where the Bat Chats are pushing forward with the Sturfs covering for top tier. If that's where Dare is going to get suckered into, the 2 Bat Chats are going to try to rotate down that 1 line. They're going to try to clear it to make sure there's nothing down there. 2 Bat Chats versus 2 5As. I don't see that fight going well for the Bat Chats without covering fire. And if that happens, then you have to look at the middle. If they identify that overmatch onto the I-7 from top tier, and they push over, assuming those 5As for top tier on the 1-2 line can win that Bat Chat fight, they can then get their guns into that fight. And that's how those overmatches can snowball out of effect. You win one fight, you can then in turn win the next one, even if they've started taking damage. So it's definitely something you have to keep an eye on as we wait for these teams to kind of make their play. It's gonna wait for the first thing to happen, though. It's gonna set all that off. It's going to be top tier over on the 8-9 line, though. So you have all these different little fights, all these different little engagements, all these people waiting for different things to happen. Now, once these Bat Chats get spotted, keep an eye on that 1 line, because I think that's where it's going to come into play.
And there's Rude taking a little damage. Muriel is spotted. 1, 2, 3 is able to spot him. Same with Joe Jackie. Muriel takes 1 for 399. And just waiting in the wings is 1, 2, 3 with that Bat Chat.
Aggressor taking a lot of damage. That's TRV. The Bat Chat's getting shots. He's actually on the low ground on the other side of the train track, so I don't know if he's going to get out of here alive. And it looks like the heat shell from the Bat Chat going for that Copla. There it comes from Delth in the distance, getting the kill. Now look over at the 1-2 line. Those Bat Chats pushing down there, and they're going to come across. They're going to find 2 5As, and this could snowball out of effect. Harmless, he's going to get spotted.
Ooh.
Takes 2 shots for half his HP.
And he decides, I'm out, and turns around. Starts just booking it out of here. He knows this is not a good idea.
But now these 5As have to make a play. They either need to push forward or they need to rotate out, because now they know there's going to be an overmatch on the other side of the map.
Yep, Bat Chats are going to leave. They're going to decide, okay, let's fight somewhere else, take on some other tanks, and get a win. Those 5As will take way longer to get into position. This is awesome for Dare. Top tier, you're right. If they can't get Fixer and Lop into a decent position soon, this is going to go in the way of Dare. But Harmless is going to stay around. I'm going to note that. He's moving into a bush to passive spot, but he knows it's dangerous to go up the hill. Holds back.
But look at this. 1, 2, 3 is up here. Now he's firing, and they don't know where he is. He's not spotted. Unloading shots, and this is a wrench into top tier's plans. They didn't check this.
No, they
Now
didn't.
they're
They just
stuck.
bypassed completely. And by the way, I was watching him for a minute. He did not fire. He didn't peek out. He just waited. He knew the value of just being that behind enemy lines tank, sneaking in there. 5As have diverted. They're going to go across the middle of the map instead of going directly up the one line. Harmless held back. Dark Ninja also. And because of that, they're not actually in
Now,
position.
Mariel's about to come off clip, so we may see them push, the Batchats push over now that all the heavy tanks have taken that middle ridge, and sure enough, they're going to go over for Durgel.
There they go. Jojo actually misses an important one. He can't actually get an angle, and he's going to flip him
They're
over.
going to flip Durgel over. I don't know why they'd even waste shells on him at this point. He can't do anything. Yep, and the Batchats are going to ignore him. He's out of the fight. They're going to go for Dark Ninja instead, and this is going to be top tier cleaning this up. This gives me hope about top tier. This is good stuff.
Getting flipped like that hurts. Durgel doesn't even count as really being alive.
He's like a turtle right now. He's on his back of his shell. He can't do anything but spin his tracks in the air and just pray. And no help is going to come flip him over.
Poor guy.
And they still... There it goes.
Yeah, you die after a while of being flipped over. Oh, that's too bad. Well, that's a first for the league, I think, being flipped over. Oh, also that's an ace.
Yep.
That was an ace.
Clean 7, pretty good damage across top tier. That was fun to watch.
Yeah.
That was, we were talking about meta, but that pretty much played out like I thought it would for top tier. They baited those Batchats into that 1-2 line play. That's where he wants that snowball to happen. We're going to show them something on the other side, and we're going to make them make the play we want. Because if you notice, those 5As were never spotted. That was by intention. That was, these tanks are going to be down here. This is going to be a little surprise present for Dare. And sure enough, those Batchats came over, and then they quickly turned around and said, we're on the nope that train to nope thatville. We're not dealing with that right now. And from that point on, they could just never recover. Too much HP gone. Positionally was gone.
And they were out of their headspace. The Batchats stuck around, hoping that the 5As would keep pushing forward and that they could put some cover fire in that, and just wasted a bunch of time for Dare. Not a bad idea, just in hindsight, they'll notice that they wish they'd used that time elsewhere. And then this push on over, Batchats working together. Now, had Durgel been able to get, or avoid being flipped, he might have been better off, but in this case, well, yeah, didn't work out. Poor guy. All right, looking at the after action report, Hako is at the top of the charts, 2,966 damage, just about 3K right there. Mariel, Rude, and Lop all making up the top 4. Only 1-2-3 in his Batchat, breaking 1,600, and then Delth and Fixer. That just kind of shows you the damage disparity.
Dare never really had their guns in a position well enough to really focus out anyone from top tier, get any consistent damage off outside of 1-2-3 up on that little boost, so not really too surprising there. Like those Batchats, once they pushed down there and they saw the 5As, what are 2 Batchats going to do against 2 hold down 5As? It's just not going to happen, especially when Harmless lost half his HP in one volley, and they were going to be reloaded in another 7 seconds to give him another.
Well, that was a really important part. Had that volley not landed the way it did, that was a more feasible situation for Dare to take. But when you lose half your hit points all of a sudden, and then you don't even have the other Batchat you're supposed to have with you, like truly with you.
Well, and if you look at it, the HP of the 5A right now, it's 2,200. How much damage potential does a Batchat have in this clip? 2K. So you're relying on high rolls, and if you have 2 Batchats versus 2 5As, even if both your Batchats pen all 5 shots out of each clip, chances are you're not going to kill more than one of them. And at that point, the consistent fire kicks in. And so if you have 2 Batchats, even if you kill one of them, it's still one consistent fire 5A is going to clean up. Now looking, as we head into battle number 3, lineups coming in, an I7, a Mouse, a Sturv, and 4 Batchats for Dare Rising. Top tier, an I7, 2 5As, a Batchat, and 2 M48 Patents.
2 of them.
Yeah, and 2 Batchats to round it out. And we're going to see a Pain Train for top tier. Known to many others as a Lemming Train, just pushing straight down the 2 line right now. We'll have to see if they all stick together.
Maybe so. Mariel just doing a little opening scout. Jojo, ooh, shots fired by Bird.
M48
and Jojo actually gets tracked with a 480 shot from the Mouse. Not bad.
And the Batchat's over in the forest right now.
Okay, everyone's grouped up. Nice grouping.
They're just going to go for this. This is going to be a world of hurt for Dare. They do not expect this. And everyone is behind Rude Awakening. They are just going in, and this is going to be Bird going down in a matter of seconds.
Should be. Although this is an IS-7. If he holds on long enough, support can come in and make this a big problem. Durgil on the high ground is in a position to deal damage, and he's doing just that. Bird's trying to make himself as useful as possible, putting himself on high ground, exposes his weak points, but Delth gets the shot. Bird will go down. And now between 1, 2, 3 and Durgil, they'll deal as much damage as they can to even this up. If you look at the hit points right now, top tier is down to 10k, next to Dare's 12k. As the Bat Chats have just gotten in position, I see shots getting fired by Aggressor, by Harmless, by Nationwide, everybody into this group of top tier tanks as they try to retreat into better positions. This is not working out as well for top tier as they'd planned. They're taking damage across the board.
I really like this response out of Dare Rising. Even though they gave up that tank, their Bat Chat's not committing all the way in. They got close enough to get some shots and to punish, but they're not getting into the range to where those heavy tanks can really bully them and use their armor and use their consistent fire. Instead, they're staying at range, using the camo value from the Bat Chats and their mobility and getting out of there. And this was actually very good for Dare.
Yeah.
Top tier. What I didn't like about what I saw there was they didn't want to commit because they didn't want to get punished too hard from the tanks in the back, paying that toll.
Yep.
I think if they had just committed onto that I-7, pushed over and guaranteed the kill, they could have killed him quicker and then backed off and taken less damage than sitting there trying to play that corner game, because you saw a lot of shots bounce. Because Bird, to be fair, Bird played it well. He played the hold down game, he backed up, he made it hard to get shots, and he bounced some shots from his front. So from that point on, I think the better play for top tier would have been to push around and make sure they get the guaranteed damage and kill him quicker than they did.
Possibly so. Now, Bat Chat squad's moving in from Dare. We've got just a squad of 4 of them. And we might see just about the same concept applied by the top tier just brought by Dare.
And here come the Bat Chats, and this is a good read from top tier. They
Nice
get their
spotting.
guns into here. Rude's going to get up on top. They have this crossfire. Akako needs to get out of there. Now they're going to push up and over into Rude. Now it depends if the rest of the guns are in a position to punish. They're going to get some good shots off onto Harmless.
Now Fixer being focused. One more gets him down. Akako might be next, but it looks like guns are all trailing on tanks moving into support. That's Laptev, that's Muriel, that's Delth. And with only, looks like 4 shots across the rest of the remaining bats, it's Harmless and Dark Ninja, they won't have quite enough damage to stall this out. It's a good thing that Aggressor's on reload, good thing Dark Ninja's on reload, because they'll need those shells in just a moment. And the important thing for Dare right now is to hold off top tier's bats. Just keep them from moving in for a minute more. Although Muriel looks like he's ready to engage.
And those M48s, both one-shots. Now they have the consistent fire, but the Sturv in the backfield's looking for shots on him, so they need to be careful.
That Sturv's looking pretty delicate right now. One more shell into Durgil will take him out, and that's important. If he goes down, Dare loses their backbone. Although,
good pick there from Muriel onto Aggressor. And these M48s just playing chicken with that Sturv in the backfield.
go. One more into Harmless, we'll finish him off. It's hard to find a shot, he just kind of dips off into some cover.
That M48 patent turret is bouncing shot after shot. They're really making it work on this ridgeline, really making it viable right now. And the Bat Chats don't have any armor to block any shots in return, so they keep poking up, firing, not getting a penetrating shot, and then just taking damage in return. Now, if you look at the south, they're going to push over onto the mouse. Now these patents need to get into the fight and keep their heavy tanks alive.
Yeah, this is going to be difficult. 1, 2, 3 on his own is going to have one heck of a time there. Durgil is down. Great play there from top tier. This is looking good for them. They've got enough tanks alive, but enough of them on one shot. And there, one more shell. That does it. M48 patents coming in and doing plenty of work. Same with Delth, also finishing off Harmless. Only one remains, it's Dark Ninja. And he is sitting on 282. One more shell will finish him off. Takes down Delth. He can take down quite a few, but
a lot of one-shots, but it looks like they're going to close. Muriel's going to get in front of him and go make sure to go for the ram. Doesn't need it, though. He's going to get the kill. And that is going to be top tier pulling ahead 2-1. This is not the top tier from the last couple of match days.
No.
This is a very sharp top tier on top of their game. And Dare are in some trouble right now.
yes, they are. They really need to, I guess, pull everything out, all the stops, really.
Now,
this is a match where top tier will scare you. They will not let up. The reason that they don't win isn't necessarily it has nothing to do with the fact that they're not good enough. It has to do a little bit with some cohesion and just core team stuff. It has enough to do at all with individual player skill. So with that, James, I think the thing that Dare has to remember is, like, these guys are really good, even if the strat doesn't happen to be great. And that's where these things turn around.
Yep. Now, the other thing to think about, if we want to talk about mentality for a minute. Remember, what's our second match tonight?
It is Eclipse versus Elevate.
So if you're Dare, you're going to assume that Elevate's going to win that match. That means there is no pressure on you in that second place spot tonight. So maybe Dare kind of taking their foot off the gas a little bit, knowing they have that breathing room.
Remember what Aggressor was saying in the pregame. They take top tier very seriously. They're hoping for a good match.
Well, they're giving it to them right now.
That they are. And this isn't over yet. We've still got a ways to go. And look at the post-battle stats from that match. We've got Agahako and Delth putting up over 3K, and 1-2-3 almost getting there in the mouse. Of course, the mouse DPM being nerfed a little bit in the last.
But it still has all that armor and still 3K HP, so it's really hard to kill. But the thing that really stood out to me was the M48 stat game. I want to go ahead and pull those up on my screen real quick. Looking at it, the M48s, where are they? So I'll have to get to it next game, but I want to see their damage blocked out of that game for those M48s, because they stayed alive way longer than they should have. They put out a lot of damage, as you saw in that post-game battle result. And those two M48s, having the consistent fire and having that turret armor, even though they lose the DPM out a little bit, that may have been what turned that in favor of them that game.
Yes, and the fact they performed very, very well.
And the fact they just stayed alive way longer than they should have as well.
Let's look at the lineups. This is a little different. Bird bringing in Kronwagen, Aggressor into Type 5, 5A, 1-3B, 2 Bat Chats, and an AMX 13105. I can't remember seeing one any other time this season. That's actually pretty exciting.
We have seen it on Sand River. We've seen it a couple of times as a passive tank on the cap.
We have?
We have.
Oh, I'm neglected to remember. I am so sorry, 105
that old
players.
man memory.
Yeah, I'm losing my edge. I do love the 105.
We'll get to that in a second.
You're right.
Other
If it
lineup
comes
coming in, an IS-7, 2 5As, a Patton, a 140, and 2 Bat Chats.
There we go.
I personally am a fan of the Kronwagen here.
I am too.
I really like this tank.
Good in hold down.
Good in hold down.
Great.
It is the best tank in hold down, in my opinion. The only weakness it has is if it takes shots from multiple angles. You can stare, if you're hold down, you can stare at JPE in the face and not even flinch.
This is true.
That's something that pretty much almost no other tank can say, except for maybe an IS-7.
Yeah, good old IS-7. But the cons of the Kronwagen.
Terrible DPM, and terrible pen on the heat shells, and mediocre accuracy, and it's not that fast.
Yep.
But if you can work that gun depression and you can work that turret armor, it is an absolute bully of a tank, especially when you have some teammates around you, especially something like Aggressor and a Type 5 that fires heat shells, something, or not heat shells, but HE shells, something that deals with hold down tanks very well because it almost always does damage.
Almost always does damage. That sounds like the just bargain HE. Almost always does damage. All right, so this Kronwagen, let's kind of watch some of his gameplay, because this is going to slow down for just a sec. It looks like while Bat Chats and Object work on the southeast side of the map. See those guys looping around, just moving on up.
The Bat Chats clearing the 8-9 line with the 140. Dare in this Type 5 just holding his corner, and this is a good tank to get those resets because it has the HP, it has the turret armor, and it can actually splash tanks near it. So if as long as it hits the tank next to the tank they're hiding, they should be able to get the resets on the cap, which is going to make it harder for top tier to get that cap pressure the way they want.
All right, and we're going to go ahead actually, James, and let's listen in a little bit with top tier as they attempt to solve the problems of attacking on Murrow.
Okay, I7 moving up.
I7 move up. And what I want is I want to see if this guy can get onto cap, okay?
I don't know.
Just try, okay? This bat, you need to make sure you have covering shots on the IS-7 at all times, okay?
I got spotted.
This VZ, make sure you have covering shots on the IS-7 at all times.
I got lit.
They do have a light tank somewhere.
Yeah, it's a light tank somewhere in the bushes. I got lit.
Oh, Hako, get up to this corner so you could spot, like, into here, okay?
I got spotted. I can't get on cap without getting lit.
They're playing east. I think they might have put the bats up the 1-2 line. So I got lit.
Yeah, the bat's on the 1-2. Scouts in the bush. Remember, can you start seeing where he is?
I want to say I just have to move.
Yeah.
This bush.
Pretty sure. Actually, he might be.
Alright, one of their bats just fucking shot. He's over here.
Yeah.
I can't cap root.
Ooh, there is Type 5. So we have to blind fire. But
Okay, I got lit. He has to be behind this line.
Okay.
Most likely,
Olive bush?
in... 1 second, let me try again.
Okay, I went through.
Is my shit like exploding? Can somebody see? Do you see, like I'm shooting like I'm just.
I don't
There's
know which
batch
bush it
ID.
They
is.
got a bat on one line.
Oh, I got spotted from right here. Exactly where I'm at.
Am I hitting?
He could be in this middle bush. Let me see if I can figure out which one.
No. He's probably in the wally bush.
Do you guys see my shots exploding or not?
Yeah, he's in the wally bush. He's in the wally bush.
Which is the Wally bush?
Everyone,
The
big
one with a bunch
big
of trees. Yeah, the
you-
trees knocked over in that bush.
Right here.
shoot all in that.
They're
They're
pushing.
pushing middle.
I'm clipping.
Loaded.
Oh, bat,
There he is.
105.
Get him up. Get him up.
Got him.
Nice.
Nice.
I'm
You gotta
having
cover
pink
Hawker,
spikes,
cover
by the
Hawker.
way.
Hey, just play the best of your ability.
Dude, we were hitting that guy.
Yep, I think it was.
Alright, now we can get one guy on cap. We can get one guy on cap at all
Oh
times.
yeah, go cap.
Get a bat on cap.
Yeah, get this guy.
Miro, you
Good.
should get on cap.
I'll try to get out then.
Actually, no, stay. I'll get
No,
him.
I'm getting out. I'm getting out.
Yeah. We need one bat to be like over here, I think.
Look, you go.
I
I don't
already
think
moved.
they can push us, Rude. If they push us, they waste.
Jojo, you're the healthier bet.
Yeah,
You should.
if they start pushing,
If
that's
they push us, get 3 on cap. If they push us, get 3 on cap.
No, we can't. We
Oh,
can't
it's
take
like-
green cap.
That's what we're killing.
pushing.
Oh my god.
Alright, they're pushing. Get both. Get 3 on cap right now. 3 on cap right now. 3 on
Okay,
cap.
I'm turning.
Me and Fixer can hold them for a while.
Oh, Hawker, we're just gonna stay
Cover
here
me
and hold.
Yes.
Fucking over trade for more bush cover.
Where should we go, Delta? Right here in the houses?
Just hold on right here.
Should
They're
we go
gonna
down
rush
into
with the
buildings,
Uzi
Rude?
and a bat.
There's the bat, Hawker.
Just kill 1, 2, 3, and they can't reset. If you can kill
She
1, 2,
might be
3, they
alone.
cannot reset.
No, there's a bat.
Type 5 pushing through.
I bounced him again. What a joke.
Tracked them.
Type 5, 4,000 damage. Okay, he penned.
Yeah, no, everyone shoot the
Shoot
bat.
this bat! Shoot this bat!
He's right in the open.
Bat, Hawker.
He's in the open.
Lopka safe.
Watch out. Uzi
getting safe.
nationwide.
Nice.
Yes!
Get the hell out of here!
Fuck yeah,
I'll
man!
get the bat. I'll get the bat.
There it goes. I don't think we needed to come back from listening to for you guys to understand just exactly what happened
And
there.
you can hear what it means to them. That Derek's. This is a team that's like I'm terrified of right now. This is not the top tier I expected to show up tonight.
This is exactly the top tier I wanted to show up tonight.
This is the top tier that we saw during the playoffs last season. This is the top tier that everyone in this league, including Elevate, should be afraid of.
Yes.
Like just plain and simple. That is a scary team. The
Yes.
blind fire, the checking of the bushes, the coordination there. They got the 105 out. They understood, hey, they're pushing here. We have to do this now. They got those tanks onto cap. They understood who was the main threat there. Unfortunately, Aggressor got that penetrating shot onto Rude. You could hear he was kind of upset about that.
But you know what? He'd already won the game.
Yeah.
He'd already read the situation and understood exactly what needed to be done. He could have been focusing on the Type 5. He could have been trying to play some game with that, but he understood that 1, 2, 3 was the most important enemy on the battlefield at that point.
He understood there was a bigger threat to the team as a whole than himself. And the Batchat actually took too long trying to get the damage off, didn't get in position to get those lights, and that's going to be top tier taking that as we head into Himmelsdorf.
Yeah, and also I believe they also introduced us to something which people should be learning about, which is the Wally bush. Wallhack's got his own bush named after him because that's where he would generally play passive. That's a caller from Elevate.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's been around for a while, so a lot of people have some experience with him.
Yeah, and you know what? You don't hear it called the Wally bush all the time, but I think we should start doing that so everyone just gets used to the terms here.
Yep, and now as we go into battle number 5 in just a minute, looking at the damages on the second page here, nothing too crazy. It was a cap out, so the fantasy points for even the top performers is not going to be that great that game. So a little bit unfortunate for the fantasy players, but that was fun to watch.
Yeah, it was.
And
All
you can hear what that. To me, that feels really good for Rude. That's the main person who's going to get a lot of that. Because that is 100% the caller deciding what goes on there, and that's his play that clearly won that game. That wasn't individual play. Now, I will say, Muriel in the blind fair there in the 105, that was the main individual thing that won them that game. But overall, that was, you credit that 95% to Rude for the setup, the meta, and how they played that round.
All right, now we're going to get ready to go to Himmelsdorf. This is where the entire match can end, James. Top tier, if they win both times on Himmelsdorf, will end this 5-1.
They could give us a 5-1 scoreline, the opposite way that I predicted, but they're well on their way to doing it.
I mean, let's be honest. If I had told you that top tier was going to win, you probably would have doubted that, but you wouldn't have said I was crazy.
Well, if I knew, even with knowing Rude's back, if you'd said like a 5-3 in favor of top tier, I'd be like,
yeah,
okay, I can see it's a long shot, but I can see it.
All right.
A 5-1? No, get out of here.
All right, well, let's take a
All
look at the
right.
lineups real quick. We'll get back to this. 50B, IS-7 mouse, Type 5, 5A, and 2 T110 E3s for Dare. 113, 3 mouse, Type 5, and 2 5As for the side of top tier.
Yep. Now, looking at Dare, they are the team on defense. Now,
they've got
it's no secret that Aggressor has a little bit of a love for Type 5. Really seems to like those tanks.
It's a good tank.
So especially on defense for getting those resets, always doing damage. It's a pretty solid tank. Now it's fun to see how he fits them into his strats, because we're going to see it go over towards the 2 line with both the E3s right out of the gate. Meanwhile, top tier, the team on offense sending 113 to 5A towards the 8 line, Mouse going up towards the 8 line, and the rest of the tanks, including their own Type 5, going towards the south.
And standard spread on our defender's side. Nothing crazy, nothing to hill yet. Aggressor's going to play that mid game against Jojo. And we'll see 5A versus 113. Who's going to win? HE coming out and hitting Jojag.
Now you want
17.
to talk about meta for a second. Let's look at this mouse right here on the hill.
Yeah, Mariel.
This is incredibly clever.
Okay, why so, sir?
All right, let's say the other team sends looking over at Dare. What tanks do they have that they could take that hill with? The 50B is the only viable tank.
Or that they would entertain.
Yeah, maybe,
right? Okay.
maybe one of the heavy tanks, but you'd have to think they're not going to send anything more than that 50B towards the hill. If the 50B goes up that hill right now, he's not going to win a one-on-one with the mouse. Might get a few shots off, but that 50B is already going to struggle with the mouse, and so he's just going to lose a lot of HP. That's like guaranteeing that you're going to win that hill fight just by himself, as opposed to, say, we see a lot of E3s go towards the hill. The problem is they're weak by themselves. They can get flanked. They can get tanks around them. You can get tracked. You don't have that problem with the mouse. Now, you don't have the same alpha, but you guarantee yourself that position and the fact you're not going to get bullied. Also, we could see it maybe be a bit of a distraction. Push them out towards this 0 line, get them up towards this top cap, and then move the rest of the tanks either over towards the 2 line or straight up the 8 line once Dare has responded. They've seen that mouse. But even if they're able to identify the overmatch, so that's one tank alone, it's going to take a while to get to him on that 0 line, and on top of that, trying to kill a mouse, even with 3 or 4 guns, it's going to take a little while, and that could be time that top tier could use to get a better position, to get good damage off, and to turn this fight in their favor.
That it could. And on top of that, while we were going over that, take a look at the entire minimap for a moment. We'll just pull that up. What's this indicate to you? These positions that you're seeing, is that saying that we're going to see a banana push combined with that hill from the mouse? The mouse creating that distraction you were talking about, while this push comes in maybe across the field as well?
They're in enough of a position they can flex either way. They could dart down into the south and go over towards that 2 cap. They could push across into the courtyard, get up into like E3, get across there and really pin Dare back, or they could do what you're talking about and take that 8 line. There's any number of options with how they're set up right now. It's a very flexible situation they've left themselves in, as it looks like Mariel is going to go ahead and start working that 0 line in that mouse now.
All right, at the same time, looks like pressure's increasing on the banana as Type 5 has joined the fight. Bird's got something scarier to deal with. He does not want to catch some HE to the face. Always hurts. Although with Mariel, there's the question I have about using a mouse like this. I'm not sure if it's the most optimal tank. You know what I mean? Because very often the tank that goes up and over the hill is a little faster, maybe a higher damage potential tank, and I'm wondering what we're going to see this mouse accomplish that's going to be to the benefit of the team. I'm not saying it's a bad idea.
It's the holding power is the main thing there.
But over an E3 or over a Type 5 or over 50B, maybe an IS-7?
Type 5, I think, could probably do it, but the mouse is going to be a little bit more consistent in the one-on-ones. And on top of that, why we're not seeing like an E3 or a 263 is, one, from the way that top tier set up, it's clear that this mouse is always going to be alone. At no point are tanks going to join him. He has to be able to fend for himself. And what better tank to fend for yourself against even multiple tanks to really slow them down than a mouse? What tank has the survivability to waste a lot of time from your opponent? A mouse. So look, to me, to a certain extent, it makes a lot of sense.
All right. Also, in the meantime, what you guys have been watching while we're chatting about that, just to bring everyone back in, is the way that this IS-7 is moving his turret. Is he's just throwing his gun up into the air. He's, I don't know what you call it, James, but I've generally called it snorkeling. Because it just looks like a
That's always been the surrender sign to me. Just pointing the gun up in the air. You're not going to do anything.
It's a great way of getting spotted or spotting things. The reason being is just...
The last spotting point is off the end of the gun barrel, if memory serves.
Yep. It's not off of necessarily where graphically it's displayed, if I'm correct. It's where the actual gun ends in game.
I think that changed with the HD models.
Not perfectly. Like the shell doesn't actually exist in game at the end of the barrel, so that's why you can put your gun into someone. It's because the barrel doesn't exactly go the full length of the graphically displayed barrel. Not always. It's longer and shorter, and sometimes.
Now look at this. Muriel is going to come across the 0 line. Now we'll have to see if he gets in there. And look at this. They took pretty much control of all 3 of the lanes, not just one of them. They've taken the courtyard, they've taken the 2 line, and they've taken the 8 line. So they're really pinning these tanks from Dare back to the back corner of the map.
That they are. What's Dare's response? Well, this is going to be that slow push, just bouncing a shell, causing IS-7 to just keep coming back and coming back. At the same time, it's scary with that Type 5. If he inches up and just gets an eye on the right target, you know that's going to be scary. Nice shot into Kuplo from Bird, showing us why he's just such a good player. He's going to be as annoying as he can be while this push moves up the 8 line. No one's spotting the mouse, though, Muriel, right now. And I'm wondering what Top Tier's thinking about that.
So both the mouse and the 5A on the 3 line, the positions they're in isn't primarily to do damage head on. What they're trying to do is they're trying to bait the tanks from Dare to respond over here to the 7-8 line. And those 2 guns are in position to punish the tanks respawning, not the tanks that are already there. So if those E3s try to come across that D line, that 5A will have side shots, and it looks like he's actually going to give that up. But so is the mouse, and the mouse is actually going to start pushing across, and they're going to start moving in, and they're going to find the isolation, and the IS-7 of Bird looks like he's about to be isolated, and Aggressor could find himself in a world of hurt pretty here soon as well.
That he could. Looks like focus is going to be on the Type 5. We don't want him just HEing damage all day, every day. And he's going to actually hold his shell. Bird's on fire. It's burning. Needs to get that out.
And I love this out of Alcaco. He's trying to simp for Delph, trying to keep him back in that pocket. And the Type 5 gets the shot for 500, but they're all going to push in onto Alcaco. Muriel's going to get some shots. 1, 2, 3 is going to get focused out.
Rude sneaks a shell into Bird. Nicely played. Aggressor needs 1 more shell and he'll go down. Just waiting for that.
And slowly Top Tier pulling an edge.
Aggressor staying alive. Nicely played. Muriel's going to not go for that. It's going to be Alcaco. And now Jojo, Fixer are going to go up against Harmless in the Type 5. Looks like he's actually completely alone. Not a lot of support there. And actually, it's going to be 3 tanks on him from Top Tier.
It is a 6v4 right now. And Dare are going to push forward into Leptev, trying to find the overmatch. Dark Ninja picks up the kill onto Lup finally as Muriel puts one into Nationwide.
Harmless throws a shot away.
And Jojo picks him up in that Type 5. And Muriel puts another shot into that mouse. They finally get the kill onto Nationwide. And Muriel trying to get that shot onto the lower plate of Dark Ninja. It's going to hit the track instead.
He just wants to keep him there. He's got battle buddies, people to help him out. Like Jojo, Fixer, Rude, all those guys. Remember them? They're still alive. Nicely played.
I think the easiest way to put it is Dare are in the middle of a rude awakening right now.
Oh.
Because Dare are losing 4-1 to Top Tier, a team that has been out of form the last couple days, that has not had Rude, and all of a sudden has turned on the style points. It's playing better than we've seen them play all season. And they are 1 round away from taking a win over the 2nd place team of Dare Rising.
They've done this before. Seasons past. You know. Like
last season.
And once well before that, too.
And also remember is in the, we talked about earlier in the season during the playoffs, the 3rd, 4th place match.
Yeah.
It was Top Tier that won that match 7-0 in the 3rd, 4th place match. So now there were bigger circumstances factoring into that one.
Could say.
But still, that is a 7-0.
Yeah. It's a thing. Top Tier has this habit of just showing up, like becoming very dangerous later in the game. They don't often perform quite to my expectations, but there's something about their consistency that tends to be lacking. And it could be, Rude getting another job. I don't know how many jobs he's gotten during WGLNA, but, this team has been up and down. And Dare, well, Dare seems to have a habit of not performing as well as we expect them to against up-and-comers.
I just want to know how many people besides myself picked multiple people from Dare and didn't pick anyone, or maybe just one from top tier, and are sitting here there right now regretting their life choices, because that's certainly what I'm doing.
I'm not. I decided on Delth and Mariel.
Oh, so you went with 4 from this game. You stacked this one hard, and looking at it,
Yeah,
Kako, 4K.
I got 3
Mariel,
dudes.
3,600. Bird putting a solid shift in that IS-7, another 3,400 damage, 62 fantasy points. Dark Ninja, Nationwide, Fixer Reloaded, all having decent games, all above 2K. JoJo also above 2K, coming in there, 55 fantasy points. Then after that, Aggressor down there, 1, 2, 3, Durzel, Harmless, and Delth. Delth only getting that one shot off before he got focused out.
Yeah, Delth is the only one who on my list who let me down that battle. That's it. That's all. That's all. And altogether, pretty happy with the performance of top tier.
They are playing really good right now.
They are. All right.
Just there's no other way to say it. I mean, they're playing fantastically. They're one step ahead of Dare at every move. They understand what they're going to do. Their strats, the meta that we were talking about, top tier, whatever work they did before this last match day to make up for Rude not having the time, it's certainly working right now, because they're about to win this game if Dare can't turn it around. Now looking at the lineups, a 50B, 2 Type 5s, 2 5As, a 4005, and a Bat Chat coming in for Dare, opting for that boomstick in the 4005. We'll keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, top tier, now the team on defense. 3 mice, 2 Type 5s, a 5A, and an E3. 19,000 HP just from the start of this game before any shots are fired. Top tier has a full mouse worth of HP
Extra.
above Dare.
Yep. And that's important to factor in, guys. They're going to need
3,000 HP more.
Yep. That's the thing Dare's going to have to do. They have to deal enough damage. Now, with a 4005, you're looking okay, right? That's plenty of damage, especially if you can make this take a little while. You need Nationwide to get a few big shells off, make a few solid connections, and just kind of whittle down top tier. If they can do that, then they can find the opening and sneak in.
Well, once again, we've talked about before, what is the biggest downside to bringing all these giant heavy tanks? Mobility.
Flexibility.
The speed, the flexibility. So what Dare has to do here to make this work is they need to make them leave their fixed positions, and when they do it, they have to punish. Now, they may have to do it multiple times. They may have to bait them onto one side of the map, get some damage off, and run away. Just like they're doing right here. They're getting some shots onto left Tev. Now they need to try to find a way here soon to try to open up that 2-cap. Get guns from multiple angles, because it's tucked in that top left corner. That top left corner, Randall, is one you're very familiar with. That corner has been used on Himmelsdorf for seasons upon seasons upon seasons.
And it's always been good. You have an incredibly long distance to cover in order to approach. And the way that you have to approach, what's great and is not as often talked about, is easy to track tanks moving north. If you're on the south side of the map and you try to attack the north, James, just draw me a line from the south to the north right now.
Right now you have 2 lanes of approach into this top corner. It's right there and there. So as the attacking team, your only opportunities to really get damage is in this gap here and over here in this area here. So you have to make tanks move back and forth. And right now, if they get cap pressure down here, maybe make some of these tanks move down, they can get some damage into this kind of area. But then once that's done and those tanks are dead, they have to run away for top tier, or for Dare, excuse me. So what then has to happen is they have to get pressure over here. They have to get these tanks to come this way. And they have to go back and forth like that to slowly chip away at them. The problem is your HP is limited as the attacker. You don't have a whole lot of HP to make that bait work with. So you have to do it very well. You have to be set up to punish ahead of time. And if you're not coordinated in the least bit, you can lose a lot of tanks, a lot of HP, and just all of a sudden handicap yourself before you've even been able to make a decisive play. It's risky, it's hard to do, but that's what you have to do when you're playing a lineup with 5 super heavy tanks in it and an E3 and a 5A.
Yep. All right. I'll take a little hard right out of that topic. Thank you, James, so much for breaking that down. And look back at where the match is right now. We've got FP 4005 and 2 of those Type 5 heavies up on the hill. So up and over, well, we've got the rest of Dare moving down the banana. And we're actually going to take a listen in with top tier. Want to see what they're talking about as they're preparing to defend against this Dare attack.
You come over here.
Ooh,
Angle, Hackle.
I guess I'll take the short way.
They're both crossing?
They're both crossing.
Well, one of them doesn't even matter this
Take
point.
damage.
FP.
Take damage. Take damage.
He missed. FP missed.
Shoot him. Shoot him. Shoot him. Shoot him. Shoot him.
Can't
We had no
use it.
shot.
Backed off. He just snapped and fell back.
Well, we traded like 600 HP worth of damage for almost killed dead Type 5. Okay, 600 left.
They're gonna try to get the bat.
Delph, stay here. Delph, stay here.
Yeah, I'll
This Moss is over here. I need one Moss to get into here. One Moss.
I'll do that.
Just go here and start controlling the 5 line, side scraping it, okay?
Miro, can I go to the window right next to you? And
I'll watch
3
line.
huh?
It's 2 cap.
All right, Type 5, you're coming
Fix
with
it.
me.
You could check that.
Type 5, you're coming with me. We're gonna start working the D line, okay? Type 5.
It's most likely the bat in the south.
We have time. We have time. We have time.
The bat's on the south. 4005 might poke. Never
I'm
mind.
watching.
It's Typhoid. Oh, Typhoid. Nothing on the 3 line, nothing on the 3 line.
How you want this reset, Rude?
I can come behind with Rude.
Yeah.
They go stack the Wheezies.
Yeah, they could probably hold us off.
I'm gonna get a little closer just in case.
All right,
the bat?
these guys.
Why did the
Miss.
bat poke?
Did you get reset?
Oh, Delph.
You couldn't snap down fast.
All right, heavies. Push up to here. Push up to here. This Type 5 and this E3. Watch for that. Watch for that heavy, okay?
Fire.
Just don't.
Oh, Hako, you gotta help, okay? Let's go.
I
Hako,
crit his
push up.
gun.
Yeah.
Hey, next to me, Lop. Next to me, we peek, shoot, and reverse.
Bird
No,
fire.
no.
Oh, he's back
Stop
now.
it.
He ran. Back off.
He's running,
Back off.
He's dropping into the middle.
They're gonna push
They're
mid.
gonna
It's the monsters can support.
Oh, Hako, no. Oh,
Back
Hako,
off.
no.
Back off.
Yeah.
back up.
Yeah.
Our
I'm
TIE
saving my
Fighter
shot for that.
can hold up
Yeah,
north.
they're
You guys watch this cross. Watch this cross.
Yep.
That FE is poking hill.
One
Bat,
shot
bat,
at the Dark
bat.
Ninja.
I'm trying to flex out.
I got him. 2 seconds. I got him.
I got him. Nice. I'm loaded in
Focus.
2.
What the fuck is shooting me? Oh.
Hold it. Our E3 and TIE 5 holds there.
Push the 5A. Push the 5A. Moist, push that 5A.
They're crossing.
4005 on hill.
One of them can cross. Miro, you keep going. Do what you think.
FE fired.
Keep going, Delph.
Push this 5A. Push this 5A.
Keep driving low.
This TIE 5's coming in to fight. The other one will die if he tries to.
FTB.
FTB. I need to back off. I'm low.
I couldn't stand back.
Can we
I
kill
got
Virgil?
Daryl.
50B fired too.
Daryl.
I'm loaded. I'm shooting. I'm looking at FTB. Alright, FTB backed off.
FE speaking.
Oh, Type 5 is back.
I got the
FE
FA.
loaded.
Nice.
Nice.
Block. Alright, nice. Type 5.
Okay, let the E3 come in. I have armor.
Type 5
Jojo,
doesn't have a
let me
rep
come in.
kit.
I got
Follow
block.
me, guys. I'm coming.
50B is flanking from courtyard.
FTB's trying to flank. I'm shooting. FTB. If he pushes up.
Keep
Lop, go
blocking.
forward. Lop, go forward. Give me a shot.
Type 5 fired. Type 5 fired.
Never mind.
Watch
He
the
backed
courtyard.
off.
I'm watching for you. Bird's poking. I'm
Jojo,
dead.
we shouldn't push this.
Watch out for FTB.
This bird
It's
is
gonna be
pushed
the
to
other
the
Type 5 is gonna be
FTB
here.
has side shots.
50B.
Wipe him.
Bird's one shot.
Did bird fire?
No, he's not.
Jojo, move your gun.
Shot
No,
now.
he did.
Clean him.
Get him.
Gonna
Get.
truck hill up.
FTB's not looking at you, Rude.
50B has 2 max.
Nice. Fixer
I'm
got
just-
50B.
I'm
Fixer
just
got
holding
50B.
aggressive.
Reloading.
Yo, wait for
50B
Rude.
has 2 max. 50B has 2 max.
I'm gonna pull back row.
Go
he's cooking right
together.
now.
Go together.
50BS 2?
Hold on. Let
He
me fix
fired twice at me.
Let me Phoenix my
Okay,
gun.
okay,
Fix my
okay.
gun.
Hold
Fix
on.
my gun.
You can
3 seconds.
shoot him in the turret.
He could have forced.
Other types there.
Jojo, be careful. Like if you go too far forward, I can't.
I'm just
shoot.
reversing.
Okay.
Reverse all the way up.
Nice.
Yo,
Go, go,
Fixer,
Get in the
Fixer.
tree! Bro, get in
Yes! Alright. I'm going.
Hold it. Never mind, hold.
He fired.
Okay, we're on defense. You don't have to poke.
Hold.
Like risk a fire or something.
Just wait for
Just
them to
preem
go.
the corner. Preem the corner, bro.
Preempt the corner.
Preempt the corner. Because we have a bunch of one shots.
Mero can take the shots.
We
and you
just
guys can
hold him
poke
here.
8 line.
I can go around.
Hold him.
Alright, they have to.
Lop and Fixer go together. They have 2 minutes. Just hold and I'm gonna run.
You just
Does it
sit
go get
here,
lefty?
fix here.
Hold. Buy time.
Let's go.
Buy time.
Is top tier in
5-1,
trouble.
baby.
If we can kill the
5-1,
one shot,
baby.
Buy fucking time. Just buy time.
Yeah.
Buy
Run,
if we
time.
kill the one shot, they can't count.
Run!
Is
Run!
it-
You guys kill the one shot, we'll win.
something will happen. Keep screaming.
Guys, I think top tier's in trouble. Don't you guys agree?
Top tier's in trouble, I know, right?
Top tier's in trouble.
We don't have exits, we're dead.
Was Exix the problem?
Thank you.
Top tier's in trouble.
You guys have no idea how important attitude is in this game.
Yeah.
actually.
It's literally like really.
Well, his attitude was really bad.
What's
Oh, careful. We could be saying that on stream.
Let him hear it.
My bad.
His attitude is bad. Hello, pompous.
Ex-soldier's attitude.
Oh.
Alright,
Go. I'm getting my fantasy points.
You guys can go. Rush me.
Is he AFK?
Unless I
tracked
flip
me.
myself, we will win.
Push Merla.
Look at you.
Oh, goodness.
I don't even care that my prediction was completely wrong. I just don't even care at this point. Now, one thing before we went to the listed, I mentioned about having to drag tanks back and forth to kind of chip away at their HP.
Yeah.
Dare went for basically the battering ram. They went for the blunt force version of trying to break that strat. Just take them from one side, put all your guns there, and just
Overmatch.
We're head to head. We're going for it right now.
Yeah.
And typically that goes to defender. Now, top tier played that, in my opinion, a little bit sloppy. The two mice backing off, they probably should have just gone around, in my opinion, just committed because there was an overmatch in the south.
That was a risky part.
It was a risky, but they made it work.
Yeah.
Could have done it better. But either way, my point is, Dare went for the simple version of trying to break that strat, and even with the Type 5s, it just didn't work, and top tier responded well enough.
Yeah.
And then at the end there, that was really close stuff, and then they played it really well. And I love the decision at the end for Rude to just drive away and just slow down those Type 5s. You can't really, they have tricky armor, they have those EG shell guns.
Yeah.
You can't, with all those low HP tanks, multiple tanks dying in one shot's a possibility, so it was overall risky, so I think that was the right call.
But overall, let's take a look at the match from beginning to end. At every single point, top tier felt coordinated. They felt like you could tell that Rude was pushing everyone forward and keeping that focus on. It was in every single battle. Battle 1 was the only time where Dare was able to pick up a win. Other than that, it's been pretty top tier sided. Now, looking at the post-battle stats for this last one, Aggressor and Bird picking up over 4K damage.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. Of course, it's Himmelsdorf. We mentioned how many hit points were on the battlefield.
But those two did almost half the HP that top tier brought. They brought 19,000. That was 9,000 between them right then and there. 9,500. So
Yeah.
that's literally half the HP. So those two, doing what they can to carry, but not enough. Now looking at the overall damage, because it was a 5-1, rather low across the board, but Delth, Akako, and Mario all doing 300 plus. I didn't have any of them today, so my fantasy team is SOL.
I had Delth and Mariel.
Yep, I had 1, 2, 3 and Bird, so.
I had Bird and Dark Ninja. Oh, Dark Ninja.
Oh, well,
why?
looking at the second page.
Oh, no.
Yep, Dark Ninja. Yeah, if anyone had Dark Ninja, he's played very well this season, but tonight was not his night, nor was it Harmless's night.
Tonight was top tier's night.
Yeah, and top tier. They played that so well throughout. This is the top tier I always want to see. I've been really disappointed with them recently. Stuff the early season was unfortunate. Then more recently with Rude gone, they just weren't themselves. They kind of seemed out of it. This is the top tier that I know that they can be, and I've expected out of them this season. And if they can keep this form and keep sharpening themselves and going into like the playoffs like this, then they could be the team that topples Elevate.
They very well could. And the only thing I really want to know about Dare. And I kind of, when we get Rude on, I'm going to ask him about that, is his actual thoughts on his opponent, because Dare didn't feel like they put up as much of a fight as I expected.
Yeah, well, you can ask him about it right now, because he is going to join us.
Fantastic. Welcome back to the show, Rude.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
So, we did some listening. Let me go with this one real quick.
You got this.
Because I want to start off. We did some listening throughout, including the end of that last game. And you said something that really struck home to me, is attitude means a lot. Go ahead and go into that a little bit more, because you didn't really talk to your team too much about it other than just saying it means a lot. Why do you think attitude means a lot just in the game world of tanks and in League?
I think attitude means a lot in the office. I think attitude means a lot when you're playing physical sports, esports, where you're with your family. I think attitude is extremely important in every aspect of life, honestly. In school, if you think you're going to fail the test, there's a good chance you're going to fail the test. If you feel like you're not going to score the goal, you're not going to score the goal. You have to have a positive and overall a constructive attitude.
All right, fair enough. That's what I wanted to hear. Now, Randall, you had a question before I cut you off.
So you guys were on top of your game. Thank you again for doing that. It's always a pleasure. What did you think of your opponent today? Do you think that was the Dare you were expecting? Was that underwhelming sometimes, or were they really a challenge for you guys?
Well, there's a excellent team with Aggressor. Yeah, like
I don't want to
Aggressor
say that they're not good or anything. Sorry,
no,
Rude.
like
It's putting words in your mouth.
They're really good, and Aggressor is a really good caller. I feel like over the last few games, I had like an idea of his style of calling recently, so just kind of played on that a little bit today, and we kind of got lucky a few times.
Okay, yeah, because it was from the bird's eye view that we have. Of course, things look very, very different, and just kind of wanted to get that from your perspective. So, you think a lot of that came down more so to your knowledge of the other caller and the other team more so than anything that they were lacking. So.
No, I think that everything that they were running was actually really good. I think the only thing that we were able to take advantage of today was just timings on rotations. That's basically it.
Okay.
All right, the one last question I want to go after. We haven't really talked to the captains too much, or callers too much, about the M48 patents this season. And we saw you bring them a couple times. What's the logic there? Why do you like them? And I mean, they obviously worked tonight, but what do you see out of them?
Statistically, they do well, so why not bring them?
Just that simple?
Yeah, I mean, if you bring them and they pull their weight and provide valuable information and are capable of pushing and sniping and shooting on the move, and sometimes this game is really fast, and sometimes you have to take snapshots, and the patent's pretty good. So,
I guess my question is this: is this more of you as a caller deciding what tanks to bring, or is this you're giving your players, this is the role you're playing, what tank do you want to bring in that role? How does that kind of materialize for your team?
Materializes during practice. So if we bring certain tanks in a practice goes poorly, and if we feel like every win during practice is a struggle, every loss is close, then we kind of know that, okay, maybe whatever we're doing is not working. And Jojo and Miro and Delph have been extremely supportive and helpful recently with assisting me with like what's the meta and the lineups that we should be bringing, and I think that made a big difference today.
All right, fair enough. Well, before we let you go, any final thoughts for the fans out there?
Well, I'll be playing hopefully for the rest of the season, so maybe I won't be here for a game or two max, but depends on my travel.
All right, fair enough, Rude. Thank you very much for joining us. Once again, congratulations on the win. We will see you later in the week.
All right, see ya. Bye.
Bye.